Hi there, welcome to our show, Keeping Connected. I'm Jay Burney. Today we're going to be speaking with Drew Lanham. Drew is a professor at Clemson. Among other things, he teaches conservation ornithology. He is an author. He is a member of the National Board of Directors of the Audubon Society. You may have heard him on Bird Talk. And this is a great book that he's written. It's called The Home Place, Memoirs of a Colored Man's Love Affair with Nature. He's also known as the Blackbirder, and he talks a lot about conservation and race. So welcome today, Drew Lanham. Hi, Drew. Thanks for joining us this morning on our Keeping Connected series. I know you've been in Western New York a little bit. I know that we still haven't got you out on the Niagara River. We will, but thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Jay. It's good to be with you this morning.
How's your life doing in this time of our social distancing and isolation?
Pretty well. I'm healthy. My family's healthy. So that's the first thing. Spending a lot of time in the backyard during this migration season, watching the birds, seeing what the winds bring. So this morning, there seems to be a few new birds. Scarlet tanagers are moving through. Rose-breasted grosbeaks have been around for a while. Eastern wood peewees are in. So all things considered, Jay, doing well, and hope you're doing the same.
Well, that's good to hear. My family is healthy. I mean, I have a big family here, and so far we're all doing well. We're staying indoors and wearing our masks when we go outdoors. We are able to get a little bit of birding in, but it's almost a singular experience, which is new.
Yeah.
So listen, I want to talk to you about a couple of things. Obviously, this is Migratory Bird Week, Migratory Bird Day, and the theme is Birds Connect Us. You've written a lot about how birds connect us socially, and I want to talk about how birds connect us. Let's start by talking about why birds are important.
Well, Jay, they're important for several reasons. I mean, we have the ecological reasons, right? And that birds are seed dispersers, they're insect predators, they're pollinators. We can thank blue jays for oak hickory forests. We can thank vultures for doing the dirty work for us. We can thank hummingbirds for pollinating many of our plants. We can thank swallows and purple martins and the like for being insect predators. We can also thank them for being really messengers for us in helping us to understand the health of our environment. I think a lot of people have heard the saying, that old cliche about canaries in the coal mine. And so birds really are signals to us. So many have talked about their importance ecologically. Rachel Carson, perhaps most famously in her book Silent Spring, in that what our world would be like if there were no bird song, if the birds weren't there, not only to help us in sort of all these utilitarian ways, but if birds weren't there for us to appreciate the aesthetic, the beauty of them. And I think that's what's inspired so many of us to love birds, the aesthetic, the beauty of plumages and the beauty of song. And so they're important to us in so many ways.
Well, that's a very profound answer. And as always, you have very profound answers about how birds are important. Let's talk now about how birds connect us.
Well, I like to think, as I'm sitting in my own backyard here in the upstate of South Carolina, that as migratory birds, like the scarlet tanagers that are coming through this morning and taking a stop at my red mulberry trees, that as the rose-breasted grosbeaks drop into the feeding station, that is the red-eyed vireos, maybe setting up territory here, these and other birds are all coming from way far south of us. Some of these birds are coming from Amazonian rainforest and further. So to imagine the heroic nature of these birds traveling across hemispheres, Jay, to bring tropical America to us. For those of us lucky enough to be on shorelines, to see red knots that may be coming from Tierra del Fuego, almost at the other end of the earth. Here in this time of COVID, in this quarantine time, when the best and safest thing for us to do for one another as human beings is to stay at home, birds bring us the world. And they're bringing us the world in these heroic ways again, crossing oceans and battling storms and the natural predators that are out there. But then also many of them overcoming the things that unfortunately we've done in the world. So when I see a single bird in my yard, that whether it be the scarlet tanager or the rose-breasted grosbeak or that eastern wood pewee, I think about that one bird as really being super heroic in the way that it has brought the rest of the world to me in our tiny, really, backyard. And in less than an acre, in one morning, I'm seeing Central America, South America, and the Caribbean all at once. And that connects. And so those birds have connected me. And then I can talk to my friends. I can talk to you, Jay, and say, you know what? I'm going to send you, Jay, I'm going to send you some rose-breasted grosbeaks. I'm going to send you some scarlet tanagers. And while those may not be the same birds, in many ways they are. And so they connect the two of us in their migratory journey, and they connect both of us then to some larger world. So it's especially important during this time that people realize that.
It's pretty amazing. We're pretty lucky to be in a world of birds. And in Western New York, Southern Ontario, the Niagara region, we have something called a globally significant important bird area, which is our Niagara River Strait. We have birds, as you mentioned, that come from as far away as the Amazon. They come here and they breed and they go back. We have birds in the winter that go to the Arctic or the boreal coasts of the Pacific Northwest. I mean, these are physical connections, birds in our backyard, birds in our front yard. And you know what? I bet those rose-breasted grosbeaks that I've been saying came through the Piedmont, came to your area recently, and it makes me think about you. So that's a great perspective. One of the things we're concerned about and are always trying to work towards is how can we better protect birds? It's a tough question, but
it's absolutely a tough question, Jay. And I think, when I see again those birds, I think just for a moment about what those birds had to go through to get to me, to be here. And I've used the word heroic several times, but I really don't know any other words other than sort of miraculous and astounding. But what we can do here as we concentrate on our home lives and being at home and being safe is to maybe improve our backyard so that they're more hospitable for those travelers, so that maybe we provide water, maybe we provide habitat, maybe we provide food that provides fuel that enables those birds to go on from one stop to the next. And so we can each do something in our little patchwork our little patch of the patchwork quilt that is a continent to help those birds along. One of the things that many of us do, we can't get going without our coffee in the morning. We can always buy, there we go, cheers. we can invest and buy in bird-friendly coffee. That is shade-grown coffee that's been certified by organizations to not only provide great-tasting coffee, but to do that in a way that's ecologically sustainable, that sources local economies, that stays in communities, and that helps birds. So conservation is in our cups every single morning, or it can be. We can support organizations, local organizations that really work to help keep those places like your globally significant bird areas, to keep those places intact. And Jay, I have to say, in 2020, we also have to think about the ballot box. We've got to think about how we vote. We've got to think about getting the teeth back into the Migratory Bird Treaty Act so that birds are important from a policy perspective, not just to bird watchers like you and me, but to those people who would not see birds as important and see them as sort of disposable resources. So it's any number of ways that we can do it, from what we drink in the morning to how we manage our backyards to who we support with our time and talents, volunteering your time when it's appropriate to do so. And I think, we can all sort of find our places in the migratory stream and ways to help out.
Here, my friend, and this is a really critical time in our cultural world. Going to the ballot box is so critical, and we all have to do that. And it's tougher and tougher for all of us this year, but we can do it. This is also, I think, a good time as we spend time in our homes. We need to think through what we want to do and how we can do it. And certainly the ballot box is a fundamental right, and I'm not going to call it a privilege. It's a right, and
Yes.
we should do that. Drew, go ahead.
No, I agree, and we sometimes look over it, and it's easy not to think about it sometimes when we're watching the beauty of a bird, or we've become enthralled with warblers or shorebirds at our favorite spot. But then if you put your binoculars down for a bit and you look around where those birds are, often it's a very intentional act that conservation occurs. And so we have to have conversations about that conservation. And one of the ways that we have that is by pulling the ballot lever to support those people who support the birds, who support clean water, who support clean air, and who support a sustainable environment and thinking about the impacts of climate change and the like. So it's a very important thing that we do to watch birds, but I think that we can repay the birds by acting to protect them.
Drew, it's really great to connect with you. I did meet you when you came to Western New York and made a presentation at Canisius College. I know that you've been to Rochester at the Seneca Park Zoo.
Yes.
I also know you're an incredible writer. And this book, I'm going to encourage everyone to get it. It's called The Home Place, Memoirs of a Colored Man's Love Affair with Nature. And you can get it on Amazon. You can get it on your website. And also, I know that you've done a really neat little video called 9 Rules for the Black Birder, which we're going to post on our website so we can share that with people. I hope to get you here. Maybe we'll get you here for our next Birds on the Niagara Festival, which is scheduled for next Valentine's Day, because we have a Valentine's Day theme, because many of the waterfowl that are on the river at that point, which are, by the way, going back to the Arctic, they're getting into the breeding plumage. So it's a very romantic time. So we're going to try to get you here for that.
Jay, I would absolutely love to come, and Valentine's Day would be a perfect day.
Going to work on that, my friend.